Bad news. Bob Arum, Hall of Fame promoter, he thinks Anthony Joshua will never be the same after the Andy Ruiz upset loss in Joshua's American debut. Let's get it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations. You guys have been great. The Telegraph has an interview with Bob Arum. It's an exclusive. Link is in the description. And Bob Arum says an exclusive, Anthony Joshua will never be the same. And it's a picture of Joshua, in his first pro loss. Promoter Bob Arum has said it is, quote, insane, silly, the dumbest thing for dethroned heavyweight Anthony Joshua to be having an immediate rematch against Andy Ruiz for the 3 belts he lost to the Briton 9 days ago, or the Briton lost 9 days ago. An immediate rematch anyway, which is expected to be in Cardiff in November, December, or even back at MSG, according to Eddie Hearn. Joshua was failed 4 times by Ruiz, with the fight being stopped by the referee in the 7th round. Quote, this is what Arum had to say. It's not something I would have predicted, said Arum, who promoted Ruiz for several fights. Andy Ruiz, he's a pretty good fighter. He has fast hands and quick feet, but he has absolutely no punch. He was in with a lot of guys who couldn't spell fight, and he beat them, but he couldn't knock them out. The fact he knocked out a fighter like Joshua, who I had seen on television and in person against Joseph Parker, it shocked me. Andy Ruiz is a lovely guy, but he's no Wladimir Klitschko. If Joshua was able to survive Klitschko, who can punch and knock him out, how the hell does Ruiz beat him? Unless it wasn't Joshua in the ring. Now that's something that can't happen. Maybe he didn't train hard enough. Maybe he suffered an injury. When something like this happens, there may never be that Joshua again. Arum, who is promoting into his 6th decade, has seen this before, and it can go on. He believes, let me give you an example that English boxing fans will understand. He said, we had this great welterweight. People were saying he was going to be better than Sugar Ray Leonard. He was champion Donald Curry. We put him in the ring with the guy, Lloyd Honeyghan, and guy he could get a win against. And Honeyghan was like 40-1 underdog. Curry didn't show up and got beat. I remember Honeyghan rolling around on the canvas after the fight. Bob's giving you that OG game. Curry was never the same. He was brilliant, looked like he was unbeatable. Then Honeyghan beat him, and Curry never recovered. Mike McCallum then knocked him out. He was never the same fighter. That is what could happen to Joshua. Arum speaking as promoter who would not do Ruiz Joshua 2 straight away. Quote, it's the dumbest thing from the standpoint of a young fighter who Joshua is, who you want to bring back and recover. The idea you'd put him back in with Ruiz is insane. Give him some fights. Forget about the titles. The titles will always be there. Joshua is a great personality. He shouldn't go back with Andy Ruiz. Any real boxing guy would tell you that. Unfortunately, his promoter is not a boxing guy. But could Joshua rebuild and be the same force? No, he'll never be the same. He could beat Ruiz, but he'll never be the same. So much of boxing is mental. Opponents will never give him the same respect that he would have gotten before. Nobody could beat Mike Tyson until Buster Douglas. Then guys like Evander Holyfield realized that they would have a good chance with Mike because they weren't as intimidating. Tyson became a professional. I booked Tyson every other week, and they were all first round knockouts because I'd look across the ring at the opponent and the guy's legs would be shaking. Oh, damn. Tyson had built up that reputation. Once he's beaten, that reputation is diminished, and the fighters have a lot more confidence. Arum said the fight with Ruiz has affected Joshua's ascendancy. Quote, they brought him along terrifically well. People recognize him as the best heavyweight or one of the best, but if Andy Ruiz can knock him down 4 times, anyone can. The secret, said Arum, is to rebuild slowly. You cannot rush it. You shouldn't. You need to build up his confidence, build up his credibility with other fighters. Take your time. The titles will always be there. To chase these belts, you've got to be out of your mind. That is a real disservice to Joshua. If they put him in with Ruiz, it's silly. If it were a 12-round fight and Ruiz had won on points, that would be different. But he lost in a devastating way to Ruiz. He got beat up and knocked out, and it wasn't a lucky punch. He got knocked down 4 times. Don't put him in with the same guy until you rebuilt him and rebuilt his confidence. Link in the description. Now, I agree with almost most of what Bob Arum is saying because I've told you the same thing. The only thing I don't agree with is he keeps talking about Ruiz's punching power as if Ruiz is not a noted heavy-handed guy, not a noted puncher. I don't believe that. I think Tyson Fury his fighter has less punching power than Andy Ruiz. Look at the I don't understand. Bob Arum had Andy Ruiz. He has 33 fights and 22 knockouts. So I think Bob Arum's, a bit envious because he had this Mexican-American star and he never did nothing with him other than put him in the Joseph Parker fight. Look, he has a 65% at heavyweight, 65% knockout ratio. He just knocked out his last 2 people, Dimitrenko and Joshua, who were both 6'6". I think that's just Bob Arum throwing a jab. He's making it sound like, like this is, Tim Bradley or Paulie Malignaggi or something. Like he has no power. Andy Ruiz got some pop. Look, knockout, UD, knockout. And then he didn't knock out Joseph Parker, but neither did AJ and neither did Dillian White. So I don't agree with him like making it sound like Ruiz has no power or whatever. I don't see that. I think Ruiz, he has fast hands. The punches you don't see are the ones that hit you. Plus Joshua, we don't know what Joshua's chin is like. There was rumors that his chin wasn't the greatest, but I think Ruiz has some power that you have to respect. I wouldn't say he's like a light puncher like Bob Arum is making it out to be. But man, it goes to show you everything can change just like that in boxing. Eddie Hearn, as I've mentioned, as Bob Arum is mentioning, is putting his fighter right back into the meat grinder. It's not that it's impossible to beat Ruiz, but it is extremely a lot of pressure. And if he was having trouble dealing with pressure, then I don't see why 4 or 5 months, how is that good? Same exact team, same exact fighter, but a fighter who just took that type of punishing loss. This wasn't a classic fight. This was a classic performance and a classic round. This wasn't competitive. Outside of the 3rd round, this was not competitive. Eddie Hearn has revealed Anthony Joshua was concussed. He had a concussion. He was saying weird things in his corner. Oh, why am I feeling like this? What did he hit me with again? Like, he has had memory loss and shit. So this wasn't a good performance at all, which is what Arum is saying, which is what I'm saying. I don't see why. There was nothing outside of the 3rd round, which Joshua lost because he got knocked down an additional time. Outside of the 3rd round, there was no indication that Joshua could beat Andy Ruiz. So you're going to bet all your chips that he could get these belts back. And he didn't really show you that he could do that. This could be, this guy has your number. So Arum is absolutely right. What you should do is allow him to get his bearings back, get his confidence back, prove to himself that it was a fluke and he's better than that. It's just like they're throwing Joshua under the bus. And this is a power trip. Eddie Hearn knows how disastrous this night was. All of his fighters look suspect on the card except for Caleb Smith and Buatsi. Out of the major guys, they all arguably lost, did lose, or lost like Joshua. You know what I'm saying? So now Eddie Hearn is like, oh man, just give me one more chance, to DAZN and to Matchroom to try to save face. So he's willing to bet all his chips that, Andy Ruiz got lucky. And Bob Arum's telling you, he's like, I don't think it was lucky. And if anything, now Andy Ruiz is confident. He's loving the feeling of living like a champion, going to Jimmy Kimmel, going out to dinner and everybody recognizes him and is asking for autographs. Now it's too late. You've already given him this feeling. He's going to get the belts in the mail and be holding them and taking pictures with them. You've already given him this luxury. You slept on him and then he slept you. You underestimated him and then he made sure that you remember him, So with that being said, it's already too late. Joshua, whatever went wrong in this camp, there's different things. Panic attacks. People saying he got hurt in sparring. Some people think he didn't take him serious. This is why it's unbelievable from Joshua's camp. For such a disastrous night, it seems all too convenient that they're not taking responsibility for anything. Did he underestimate Andy Ruiz? Oh, no, he would never underestimate a opponent. Okay. Did he have a panic attack? What was up with the ring walk? Why didn't they show any behind the scene footage of him warming up? No panic attack. The dad, attacking Eddie Hearn. No conclusion. We have no, other than Joshua lost, which is visible. He wasn't attacking Rob McCracken or John Skipper. He went after you, right? So they're making everything squeaky clean. Was he hurt by Joey Dwecko? Did he get dropped in sparring? Oh, no, absolutely. It's a fake black eye. It's a compression machine. So a horrible night and everything was perfect. And it just was Andy Ruiz was the better person. That's why it sounds unbelievable. And I'm not worried about it. We'll see in the rematch. Whatever's done in the dark comes to light. So you could try to hide it. Because, see, they don't want to give Andy Ruiz more confidence than he already has. So it sounds like they're trying to hide more than there's more to the story. And they don't want to reveal like, oh, yeah, he was sleeping, underestimated Andy Ruiz, or he got hurt in sparring. And I'm not taking anything away from Andy Ruiz because he's the one that capitalized. He was brought in. It's a fair fight. He didn't even have a full camp and he did all that to Joshua. Now you're going to put him right back in with the full camp. We might have seen Joshua already reach his pinnacle. And Bob Arum, I think another thing I disagree with in his assessment is styles make fights. He's talking about punching power of Klitschko, but Klitschko has been knocked out before. We're looking at Andy Ruiz's resume. He's never been chinned and knocked out like when Corey Saunders or Lamont Brewster knocked out Klitschko. So Klitschko still lives with that. He perfected his style, worked behind the jab, clinched when needed to, used his height and amateur experience, gold medal and stuff. And that's what his style became. And he was successful at it, right? So when he got dropped and then later dropped Joshua, he kind of let Joshua off the hook. It wasn't that he couldn't stop him. It's stylistically, he wasn't aggressive enough to push the issue. And he was too respectful of Joshua's size and power. He didn't press on the gas to see how tired Joshua was. And he allowed Joshua to kind of recover. Joshua was breathing heavy in this fight and in the Klitschko fight. And I think that's his mode. But the difference is Klitschko, yes, he has the power he could have done it. He started trying to box and he was being cautious because Joshua clipped him first. Now, if Klitschko never was knocked down and just knocked down Joshua, then Klitschko probably would be more aggressive. But since they traded knockdowns, I feel like Klitschko let him off the hook based on his style. Plus, he knew Joshua had the strength and the youth to hurt him. And then several rounds Joshua was losing, but Klitschko hadn't, landed nothing too big. Klitschko fought after he hurt Joshua. He fought at a pace that Joshua could, keep up with. It was more of a boxer's pace. Andy Ruiz went into the fire, went into the lion's den when he was hurt because he got dropped before, just like the Klitschko situation. But he immediately, with that big Mexican heart, Guerrero, he immediately made the decision, it's either him or me. This dude is strong. He caught me with the uppercut and the hook. Didn't see it coming. I got up. Then he bombed on me with the right. I'm still here. He had the blood flowing. The heart rate was increased. And Andy Ruiz made a stand. He took a stand. He said, fuck that. If you're going to take me out, then you're going to have to take me out. And in the process of doing that, he was letting his hands go, found and came up with something, hit him with a hook. And Joshua was like that. And he's like, oh, shit. Bow hit him with another left hook, and Joshua started discombobulating before our eyes. And then he's like, yeah, and hyped himself up. That's what gave Andy Ruiz his second win. When he seen, okay, I'm hurting this dude back. You know, Rocky IV shit. Remember when Rocky IV was getting hit, Drago, and then Rocky, and then once he seen he could hurt Drago back, Stallone started feeling himself, Drago. That's what happened. Mexican Rocky shit. He started seeing that, like, okay, this is having an effect on him. So I disagree with that portion of Bob Arum's assessment. It's not that Klitschko don't have a lot of power. He's 6'6" and a gold medalist, and he has a lot of knockouts. It's styles make fights. Andy Ruiz was on some do or die shit. When he was hurt, he was still aggressive. He was still looking for the counter. Klitschko is looking to box and shit because he's been knocked out before. And in that fight with Joshua, he had already got floored, so he was too cautious. Now the blueprint is out to beat Joshua. Obviously, you have to have certain intangibles, certain attributes. You have to be able to, you know, take his best punch, and if he drops you, deal with that. But you know, when it comes down to it, if you fight fire with fire and you have that burning desire, then based on what I've seen, Joshua is going to be the one that wilts before you, you know? And now, like I said, it's all fucked up because Eddie Hearn is betting everything on Joshua to get these belts back. Eddie Hearn is chasing those belts, and he's putting his fighter in a do or die, all or nothing type of fight with a lot more pressure because he doesn't want to lose the battle of power to Al Heyman and give them control of the heavyweight belts, all of them, because they spent so much time building Joshua's character. You know, oh, this prestigious, nice guy, and Wilder's this mean guy. He's a villain, and he's talking about killing people, and Joshua's a role model, and Joshua can't go through the streets of London without being noticed. All that was removed. That whole aura. This is what Bob Arum's telling you. This is what I'm telling you. New media. That whole aura got separated from Joshua and his belts. You know, yeah, he's big, but this tubby guy just hurt him. That looked like he didn't have a chance. So they've already opened Pandora's box. It becomes an extremely dangerous fight for Andy Ruiz because now, you know, this is a guy with nothing to lose, like all in. But it's really a dangerous fight because if Joshua loses again or loses worse or gets hit with something big and has Kell Brook type flashbacks, then it's a wrap. Look at the Golovkin fight with Kell Brook. And I'm not saying this is the only reason that Errol Spence won. Errol Spence is a terrific fighter. But Kell Brook started to mentally wilt when Errol Spence started hitting him with shit. Because if you just 4 or 5 months ago got knocked out by the same guy, or you started feeling the same, you know, tension in your head, or, you know, the punches, you feel dazed, that's going to make you freak out and flip out. Now, that's why they probably don't want, if he did have this panic attack, this is why one of the reasons they don't want to admit to that, because they don't want Joshua to look weak. They don't want it to look like he's weak-minded and put that out there. Because if a motherfucker was having a panic attack fighting in America, now you added tenfold pressure because he lost and now he has to get everything back. It's going to make him look weak-minded, and they don't want to take it there. But they're already doing too much talking and telling too much. You know, Eddie Hearn's talking about Joshua had memory loss and couldn't remember the third round on. Joshua didn't leave the house for days on end, doesn't want to go back home. They're already telling too much. Andy Ruiz should be the favorite. I don't know what the odds will be, but he should be the favorite, and he definitely should be the more confident guy. There's no rumors of him getting fucked up in sparring or having a panic attack. He handled the pressure well, even when he was hurt. Joshua didn't. So I wholeheartedly agree with much of what Arum was saying, minus Ruiz not having any power. He's like making it like Ruiz couldn't hurt a fly, which we know is not true. And I think that's more him just trying to take a jab at his former fighter that he no longer has access to, that is now in the public limelight. But beyond that, the other thing I disagree with, I don't think Klitschko, he's like, oh, how did Andy Ruiz stop him? But Klitschko didn't, because Andy Ruiz took it there. Klitschko didn't. Styles make fights. Klitschko was content boxing, which was more of a pace that allows you to recover, right? He didn't bombard him. Andy Ruiz has fast hands good feet, heart, a chin, and he kept that pace up. Watch it. Andy Ruiz, the smaller, even when he was setting up the knockdown, he was very smart. He was jabbing. He was throwing punches at Joshua's chest, throwing body shots. He's doing these things, keeping his options open. Joshua's getting more tired and more he's already concussed. He didn't know what was going on. And Joshua was getting walked down. And Andy Ruiz kept punches in his face with fast hands. Joshua was completely scrambled. Klitschko don't have fast ass hands in this volume. Different fights. So, it's a huge risk that must pay off for a rematch room. Eddie Hearn is tripping. Anybody will tell you that. Amir Khan said it. I said it. Bob Arum, Dave Caldwell, David Price, a ton of people. It's just the stakes are too high. Like you want power that bad where you don't care about your fighter's health, and your fighter was a cash cow for you. This is like mismanaging someone, just like Kell Brook. Why'd you put him in with Golovkin? Because to this day, had the Golovkin fight not happen, his only loss would have been to Errol Spence. And he would have went into the Errol Spence undefeated instead of coming off of a loss, having bad memories of what happened in the Golovkin fight, when shit got rough for him. So who knows if that would have made any kind of difference. But, Eddie Hearn is like treating them like cattle. You put in this whole workload. You can't, you can have a camel and all that. There's only so much carrying two people and carrying this much cargo. There's only so much weight that any animal or mammal or whatever could carry and take on. Like even them horses, it's hot as fuck and you just force the horse to run and run and run. The horses will keep doing it until their heart explodes, basically. They die because their heart rate, they need water. And it's just sad because Joshua, like Arum is saying, it doesn't have to be done for him, but it kind of will. Who's going to want to see Tyson Fury and Joshua, Wilder versus Joshua, if Ruiz beats him again? Then Ruiz Peruz is not a fluke, goes back to his home. People are going to be talking about Wilder versus Ruiz, So crazy. It's like Joshua's almost expendable. All the money he made and you're just going to gamble it all on one fight. It's just too severe. Joshua could come back for this, but I like Andy Ruiz's confidence. I seen Joshua on social media. He's already training. Why? The man just had a concussion. Why is he in the boxing gym doing mitts? Whatever. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree with me and Arum, drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.